All right, guys, very big announcement today. This is a big step, a big exciting leap that we're taking. TLDR version, I'm leaving BC, I'm resigning from BC in an effort to pursue YouTube full time. It wasn't for any bad reason at all or anything on either end. It was just I was kind of at a crossroads and this was the decision that I made. So there's a lot more to it. Let me explain. So I'm working at BC for almost 5 years now. I work in the tech department. A lot of you ask what I do there. I work in the tech department. I do warranty claims. I spec out like custom coilovers for people, people that don't know what spring rates or shock links they need for a custom application like a drift car, road race car, etc. Pretty much all of those come through me. For the first couple of years, I did a lot of test installs. So if we had a new car, a new application coming out, I'd test it on the car with my coworker and we'd write up the report and all that stuff, which is actually how I met Adam, because we would do some sponsorship installs and we sponsored Adam and put the coilovers on his car, and I was the one who installed them. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know who he was. I just knew that he BMX'd, and I did a couple tricks on his bike and we started talking about BMX, and he pretty much hung out with me the whole time I was working on his car, and we just talked about everything BMX and drifting, and he was telling me how he wanted to get into drifting, and I was like, oh, you should get an SR 240 to start with and whatever. So about 2 months later, he messages me on Facebook and I was like, I got a 240. And I was kind of blown away because I didn't really expect him to do it, because a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm going to get into drifting. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And they don't really do it. So I was like stoked. I'm like, oh, wow, you actually did this. You're going to drift. And then he asked me, he's like, should I bring it down from Connecticut? I was just going to leave it here and drive it in the summer because I don't know anybody down there if it breaks and I can't fix it. Like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, dude, look, there's tons of people here. There's tons of events. We have events year round. We go street drifting. I'll let you know when events are. I'll take you street drifting with us. I'll help you fix it if it breaks. And if I can't help you fix it or I can't figure it out, there's tons of people who can. And I know somebody who can. So you will be fine. So he did it. And I remember him saying that, like, if it weren't for that, he wouldn't be anywhere near as far into drifting as he is now, because he only would have done it in the summer in Connecticut. So that's really cool. And it's really cool because he got me into YouTube. He convinced me to start my YouTube channel. He helped me get it off the ground. And for that, this YouTube channel really changed my life. I would be in a much different spot than I am now without this. It gave me purpose. You guys gave me motivation. Like, when are you going to get this done? And help me stop slacking. It's given me a lot of great opportunities. I've met a lot of great people. My life would be totally different without this YouTube channel. For that, I am eternally grateful to Adam for getting me to do this, because I just can't imagine my life without it. So anyway, everyone just asked how I met Adam. That's how I met Adam, because of working at BC. So recently, I kind of came up to this crossroads. Again, I've been working in the tech department for about 5 years. God, the bugs are so loud. Do you hear that? I'm sure you can hear that. Anyway, there have been talks of me moving into the marketing department, which would be, I would still be going to events, just more events, because another thing I do now is I go to events and, I stay at the booth, talk to people about the product, answer questions, things like that. So I'd still be doing that, but I'd be doing more events, and I'd be helping the marketing guy with filming stuff and tech videos and things like that. So at the same time that I need to make this decision of going into marketing, working more hours a week, working more weekends, and kind of putting YouTube on the back burner, I've been living at this house for 4 years. Fed has been my roommate the entire time. We've had other roommates come and go, but he's always been here. He's moving down to Bradenton. Trey moved out. So my options for staying here were starting to get limited. It's, rent this house by myself, which I can't really afford. It would be really hard. Get a roommate, but the only people I know who could be roommates are into cars, so they're going to want garage space and they're going to, be working on their cars, and they're going to have cars, which I won't be able to have this many cars because of their cars, and it would really limit what I can continue to do on YouTube, which is already limited by this current setup. So the other option was move about 30-45 minutes away, get a cheaper house in Deltona, DeBerry area, and then have the garage to myself and room for my cars. But I'd still be working a lot more hours. I would have way less time for YouTube. YouTube would essentially go on the back burner, and I'd go down to 1 video a week. And that's where the other option comes in. So Ben had been looking for a house for, months, and I would help him out to look on Zillow, Windows Shop, try to find stuff. And he had found a couple promising ones. One of them they took off the market. I forget what happened with the other one. And he ended up buying the old Caleb Orion Haggard house. That was the best deal. It was where he was looking, and it had a shop. That was the key thing. It needed to have a shop when he moved in, because he parts out Miatas. He needs a place to store all the parts and take them apart. So he couldn't move somewhere and wait to have money to build a shop. He needed a place with a shop. So that's what really limited our search. So yeah, he ended up with that house. He moved in there probably 4 or 5 months ago now. So he offered for me to move in with him and rent a room from him, and I would have pretty much all the tools I need to do YouTube full time. That being shop, land for storing more project cars, so I'm not limited to just my personal cars. I can build other cars for fun if I find a good deal on them, and affordable rent. But the problem is, that's an hour and a half away. So I definitely couldn't still work at BC. So that's where the Crossroads comes in. It's a reliable job, BC, where I know how much money I'm going to make. There's no questions of if I'm going to make this or that or how much. I know how much I'm going to make. I can budget for that. I can do YouTube on the side, or do YouTube full time where I have no idea what I'm going to make. It could be great or it could be horrible. And I spent a lot of time weighing this decision out because BC was the first job I had where I actually liked my job. I was proud of where I worked. Those people have become my family. Me and the owner of the company road tripped across the country to Vegas for SEMA, towing his car there. When we got there is when my dad got really sick and got into the hospital, and they were just so supportive through it. He was like, all right, I'm not going to book your plane ticket. If we need to get you out like in an instant, let me know. We'll get you on the next flight out of here and we'll get you home, or you can leave now if you want to. And they've just been through a lot of tough times with me, and they've been my friends for years, and I never had that nagging feeling of like, I want to get out of here. I want to be my own boss because this is miserable. And it was never miserable, like everyone was cool. Management was cool. They didn't micromanage. Like I got my work done and that's it. Nobody bothered me. Nobody hassled me. Like it was just a really great place to work. I fully believe in the product. It also afforded me a ton of cool opportunities, going to these FD rounds and all that stuff. So this was a really, really tough decision to make. But what it boiled down to was, I've had a normal job since I was 16 years old. I have not had a job since then. I've had a regular job for 10 years, and I figured I have the rest of my life to have a regular, normal job. I don't have the rest of my life to try to take this leap and do YouTube full time and do what I absolutely love to do and build cars and drift and share it with you guys. Like, this is not an opportunity that comes around every day. So I decided to take the plunge, like why not? Worst case, I figure it out. I can work for Ben. I can do what I got to do, but it's just, I know I'd regret not taking this opportunity and running with it. So that's what I did. That's what we're doing. We are moving this weekend. My last day at BC is tomorrow, and then we're going for it. So the only tough thing here is when I made this decision, okay, I'm gonna do YouTube full time. My channel was down, it wasn't as good as it had been, but it was like, okay, that's enough to pay bills, especially at Ben's because it's pretty affordable to live there, and make content. I can't buy all the parts to build a car, in a week or even a month, but like I can spread it out and budget it to where I can make it work. I can make content because I want to go back. I want to go up to making 5 videos a week. If I don't have a normal job to go to, there's no reason why I can't do 5 videos a week while still maintaining good quality and good quality content. However, in the time since I made the decision and now, my channel has dropped off even more. I mean, it's the lowest it's been since it grew past this point. Like, we grew past this point and we've had our highs and lows, but this is the lowest it's been since we've passed this point. So it's kind of scary because this is a big decision that wasn't made lightly. And now it's like, okay, I have enough to pay bills, but where's the money for the content going to come from? But, I have hope that we'll figure it out. My plan, my goal is to do budget builds, do a slew of different budget builds. When I say budget, I mean like $5,000 to $10,000 builds, and do everything, experience every avenue of motorsports, do a rally cross car, do a road race car, do a straight line car, try to make like a budget 600 wheel, turbo something, there's all that bagged Euro car. I want to try all these different things, and I want to go experience those avenues of the car world because I love everything about cars, and I want to do more than just go drifting, and I want to share more than just drifting with you guys because maybe you don't know what kind of thing you're going to get into. You don't know what you want. You don't know what car you want to build. This way, if you're like on the fence about what you want to build, you'll have a roadmap. Here's all the parts we use in this build. Here's how much it cost to build. Here's how it performed. Here's the things I would do differently. And then you guys can literally go and just use that as a roadmap to build your own version of whatever it is. And you'll get to see kind of like what the scene's like and what that costed. I just want to explore, and I want to expand my horizons with yours as well. And I just think it'd be a lot of fun. There's so many builds I've had circulating in my head since I was a child that I've always wanted to build. And this is like the only way I can build all of them, because the plan to keep it sustainable would be to, raffle or sell them once I'm done with them. I'm sure I'll want to keep some. I'm sure I'll probably want to keep a lot of them. So we'll probably end up keeping some if we can afford it. But the plan to keep it going would be, to sell or raffle and use that money to fund the next couple projects. However, we need the money to fund the first couple. So that is the reason for the Drift Vet raffle. That is the purpose of it. I love that car. It was the first reliable drift car I had. Up until that point, like I had the Miata that blew up every 2 events. I'd had unreliable drift cars for years, and I just wanted to drive. And that was the first car that I was able to just go drive and not worry about something breaking, not have to pop the hood, nothing. Just go drive, change the oil, And for that means a lot more to me than I can really explain. It just holds a lot of sentimental value for me for that reason. It's also the first car I bought bone stock and modified, from the ground up. Like I didn't, get an already modified car and kind of fix the jankiness and add some of my own stuff. Like it started stock, and that, a lot of people do that, but it was my first of doing that. It's been my daily for 2 years. I love the car. I love everything about it, but as much as I don't want to get rid of it, as much as it's going to be tough, my girlfriend doesn't want me to get rid of it. It's what I have to do to achieve my goals with this channel and with what I want to do and the content I want to make for you guys. That's really my goal, is for that to be kind of the direction that I want the channel to head in. And then also my dream of doing a 2 to 4 week drift trip. I want to do that with Ben. I want to rent a 2-car trailer, take both our Miatas once this thing's done, and go on like a 2 to 4 week drift trip. So hopefully the vet raffle does really well. We can afford to do these builds, and then those builds and that sustainability will allow us to do the drift trip. Those are kind of like my long-term goals. The short term is the builds. The long term is being able to afford to go do a drift trip. So if you guys have ever had any interest in supporting the channel, now is like the best possible time. I really need your help. I wouldn't normally ask for help. I don't want to, but right now to get us going in the right direction, I do need your help. So I'm going to be announcing everything about the raffle tomorrow. The raffle is going to start tomorrow on the vet. We've got like this shirt, which we have in 2 different colors. Well, 3 different colors total, 2 more colors. We also have a bunch of other merch. There's a zip-up hoodie, there's another shirt, there's stickers, there's key tags, there's a bunch of cool stuff, there's packages, bundles. All of that will be in tomorrow's video about the raffle. But the reason I'm telling you about this is that is why we're doing the raffle, and that is why this raffle is so important to me, and why I've been trying to make sure we've got everything right for it to do as good as it possibly can and be able to sustain, doing YouTube full time and making more content, and expanding our horizons. So it is really important to me. This vet raffle is really important to me. My fingers are crossed. Cross your fingers for me. Other ways to support the channel: Patreon. I have a Patreon. I have wonderful Patreon supporters. They've really been getting me through this rough time on YouTube. Their help directly affects me every month. It's not just like some extra money. It's money that goes directly to bills or buying that last part that I needed or things like that. So I can't thank my Patreon supporters enough. You guys are awesome. I talk to them all the time. We message back and forth, share stuff on there. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I want to do even more with that once I don't have a job that I have to go to every day. But yeah, there's that. I'll try to add the YouTube sponsor button. A bunch of people are asking for that. I don't know. I just feel weird having like 2 different things, but I'll try to add that just to make things easier. And honestly, just liking the videos, watching the videos, liking them helps a lot. It helps YouTube's algorithm push the video out. I think that's a big thing I've been fighting too. Like I never want to blame it on the algorithm. I feel like that's just a cop-out for when your content's not good and you don't want to admit it. Like I know my content hasn't been the best lately, but I think the algorithm's not helping me. So liking the videos, commenting on them, that alone helps tremendously, and watching them. So anyway, I'm ecstatic and excited for the future. I'm a little nervous because of the timing of all of this and how YouTube's been doing with me about to move and take this jump, but I'm very optimistic. I know that it'll come back up, it'll turn back around. We're gonna have the vet raffle. We're gonna do it. We're gonna make it work. We can always make it work. There's always a solution to every problem. If there's one thing I've learned throughout all the crap I've been through in my life, is that everything always gets better. So we're at a tough spot now, but we will make it through this tough spot, and it'll be thanks to you guys and your support. So I just want to thank you in advance. I'll see you tomorrow in the vet giveaway video. We'll talk more about that, but I'm stoked. I want to know what you guys think, what you guys are excited for, what builds you want to see, what your thoughts are on this in general. I'm really curious. I love hearing you guys' input. That is what has been so beneficial about me having this YouTube channel, is having all of your input for different things and different points in my life and the motivation and all that stuff. So I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. I think that's it. I'm gonna come up with something as soon as I turn this camera off. I always do. I'm like go sit in my room or go start doing something else, and I remember I'm like, oh man, I wanted to talk about this whole thing. I totally forgot to explain this, and it's super important. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye. That was crazy.